What's going on YouTube? My name is FG3000. I'm back in the place to be and welcome back to the mobile gaming recap. In today's video, League of Legends Wild Rift will not be allowing worldwide access by the end of 2020, unfortunately. If you guys are not familiar with League of Legends Wild Rift, this is the only MOBA I've anticipated since MOBAs came out, since my Smite days, ladies and gentlemen. So for me, this is a big deal. And this is mostly because that League of Legends Wild Rift is a game built up for the mobile platform. This is not the PC version of League of Legends just thrown wholesale on the mobile platform. They built this game from the ground up to work on a smaller screen, to work with touch control. Some of the abilities have been reworked with mobile in mind, the map size, lots of different things have gone into the consideration of making League of Legends not just, like I said, a mobile port of the PC version, but a version of itself on its own. So League of Legends Wild Rift for me marks the opportunity to jump back into MOBAs after being removed for so many years, because I know a lot of you guys out there are just like me. You might still like MOBAs, but you don't really want to go back to League of Legends because I haven't played for years. So the amount of new characters, meta changes, the dynamics of gear and matchups, there's just so much that I've missed in the PC version of League of Legends. It's just too daunting to even think about going back to. Enter League of Legends Wild Rift, which, like I said, is going to be built for purpose for the mobile platform. It's also going to start off with a smaller roster as well. So once again, if you're like me, you want kind of to baby step your way back into the League of Legends world, here is your opportunity to do so. So that all sounds great, FG. When can I play it? Well, League of Legends Wild Rift, which was announced in 2019 to be released in 2020, is now being pushed back to spring 2021. Now, as far as the actual reasoning behind the delay, of course, boils down to COVID-19. COVID-19 has made developing the game, even with all the technology that we have at our disposal in 2020, working remotely absolutely comes with its own set of challenges. Being able to work inside an office building, being able to walk over to someone's desk and talk to them about issues and bugs and things of that nature is totally different than interacting on a Zoom call. So I don't think any reasonable person out there is under any illusion that, trying to work on a brand new game like this completely remote is obviously going to come with its challenges and some unforeseen delays. However, some people absolutely will get their hands on League of Legends Wild Rift this year. They will be running an open beta release in select regions, and I will go ahead and show a few of those regions on the screen right now. So if you're in one of those regions, forget everything I said in this video. You're going to be playing League of Legends Wild Rift this year, no problem. And I assume it using the terminology open beta, that means there's not going to be any progress wipes or anything like that, but I don't quote FG on any of that. We'll have to see as we get closer and closer to those regions having an open beta. However, do keep in mind when it comes to a worldwide global launch, we're not going to see one until spring 2021. Now, if we jump on over to the worldwide world of Twitter, Riot Pharaoh Pony writes, "We only warn now because we kept pushing to release it in 2020 everywhere, but that proved in the end to be not possible. I get it that it sucks. It sucks for us too. We announced it in 2020 and 2019, and 2020 has been a terrible year to ship a game, especially one of this scale." And I kind of like hearing scale, like massive scale, being spoken in conjunction with mobile games. 2021 is going to be the year of mobile. Now, I know I said 2020, but things change. But 2021, 2022 for sure was absolutely going to be the year of mobile. So be on the lookout for that. Another little FG prediction for you. So TLDR, the team is working hard to get the game great now to everyone. Sadly, like most things in 2020, has fucking sucked for game developers, and we can't get it to everyone by the end of the year. We would if we could. Thank you for the understanding, support, and feedback. We'll get there, and it's going to be awesome. Take your time. Take your time. I want to play the game. I definitely want to get my hands on it, but take your time. So one of these tweets I'll just quickly touch on. So why such a scattered release? Why leave NA, supposedly a major region, in the dust until 2021? So here's the deal on this one. You have to look at this comment two different ways. As a casual player, and I think a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel, we're kind of used to this. We're definitely used to, major games having soft launches in other countries. And the reason why they do that is because once they do a global launch, once they do a worldwide worldwide launch of their game, there's no going back. If they do a staggered release in smaller countries, they can take that time, they can take that opportunity to see what works, see what doesn't work, maybe do some tweaks and some changes as they continue to scale the product to accept a larger audience. So when it comes from a casual viewpoint, and like I said, a lot of people on my channel, I think you guys understand this. When it comes from a casual viewpoint, we get why game companies want to do soft launches in smaller regions before they do a worldwide launch or before they launch an NA. That's like par for the course. However, when you look at a game like League of Legends and League of Legends Wild Rift, there is a competitive aspect. And I don't mean like competitive like in Seven Deadly Sins competitive. I mean like competitive to the point where people actually make a living off of this. Like where people, you know, create teams and travel, well, they used to travel the world and go to tournaments, right? So having a game that is this hyper competitive on the level of League of Legends, having a game that's this hyper competitive, that has a staggered launch window where certain regions are gonna have the game several months in advance, because once the game is open beta in those regions, the pros of that region are absolutely gonna jump on, they're gonna start practicing, they're gonna start creating metas, they're gonna have the game and all of the intricacies. And I know League of Legends itself has been out for a long time, but Wild Rift is going to spawn a new wave of esports players. It's not gonna be the same exact people. So all these people in these other regions are gonna have a massive several month head start before the rest of the world gets their hands on it. And like I said, from a casual standpoint, you know, whatever. But from a competitive standpoint, I get why people are upset. Now, I would definitely love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. I don't really know what you do if you're League of Legends, right? You don't soft launch it in those regions at all, and you risk jeopardizing a worldwide launch where you throw the game out to the masses and it's not ready, or you stagger it in small countries and you just kind of screw over NA. Like, I don't really know what the best course of action is for Riot in this situation, but I would love to know what you guys think on that one. And one last tweet before we end the video. Yes, the hype is dead. Not for the wait, but for the lies. You made us wait over a year to announce that maybe the game will come out in 2021. Why did you announce it as a 2020 game if it won't launch in 2020? I know that the pandemic was unforeseen, but why did they only warn now? So that I feel like that's a very complicated question, because I feel like the developers of this game wanted very much to get the game out in 2020. So should they have announced this in July that they weren't going to meet their deadline of 2020? Maybe, maybe not, but maybe in July they still felt that they could still make the deadline. Maybe in August, maybe in September, maybe in all the way up until like the final days of the previous month. Maybe they still felt like they can hit the deadline of 2020. It didn't get to the point until now in October. They said, you know what? There's only a couple more months left in the year. We can't make it. We got to push it back. So maybe that's what happened. I don't think it's malicious in any way. I think, number one, they tried their best to get the game released in 2020. Once they saw that that was no longer reality, they decided to push the game back. Now, why didn't the game just get pushed back a month or two here and there? Well, I think that jumps over to the business side of things. I feel like they said, you know what? We can push the game back, but we have to push it back in a month in a season where it makes sense to launch products. And historically, right after Christmas, and I know when it comes to free-to-play games, this is not, it's a little bit more nuanced than that when we're talking about free-to-play games, but normally after the Christmas holiday, there's an absolute drought in almost everything, entertainment, spending. Almost all companies kind of shut down a little bit after Christmas and then start ramping back up as we get back to the spring. So I feel like that is why not only did they delay the game so much because they wanted to hit another season. So I think it's a mix between game developers, publishers, and then that good old-fashioned dollar bills, y'all. So that is gonna do it for today's episode of the Mobile Gaming Recap. League of Legends Wild Rift will have a delayed worldwide release all the way out to spring 2021, unless you are in one of the very few and lucky regions that will be playing the game in 2020. Does that give people that play the game competitively an unfair advantage that maybe Riot should reconsider? Let me me know what you think in the comment section below. Speaking of letting me know exactly what you guys are thinking, in the last episode of the Mobile Gaming Recap, we asked the question, what impact will Genshin Impact have on PC and console gaming monetization? 45.9% of you out there said Genshin Impact will have a negative effect on PC and console gaming monetization. If I had to guess, I would think that a lot of the people in this camp think that game developers are gonna see the dollar signs, they're gonna start adding more and more gacha elements to PC and console games. They might even go as far as, and we already kind of see it, they might even go as far as taking a $70 game and also throwing gacha mechanics in those games as well. So almost 46% of you guys out there think that Genshin Impact will have a negative effect on PC and console gaming. 34.5% of you think that this will have a positive impact. And once again, I gotta guess because I can't ask all of y'all at once, but I would assume the people that are in this camp think that Genshin Impact will have a positive outlook on PC and console gaming monetization due to the fact that maybe that game developers might be a little bit more willing to give away their base product for free, knowing that if the base product is of a high enough quality that players would be willing to monetize them as they see fit. Give away a high quality product, give as many people access to it by making it free, and don't you worry, as long as the game is good, players will be willing to monetize it. So, and then last but not least, 19.7%, almost 20% of you guys out there think that Genshin Impact will have no monetization impact on PC and console games at all. I would assume the thought process here is that mobile gaming has already been out for over a decade at this point, probably even more. We've already seen the scummy gacha business model monetization already in full force. We've already seen that model prints money. They're not showing PC and console game developers anything they haven't seen before. So I understand that camp as well. Now, if you want to know what my personal thought is, I'm probably in the camp of negative. So I think overall game developers are going to get the wrong impression. They're going to get the impression that, you know, players are totally fine with gacha mechanics to the dismay of PC and console guys, because they've actually done a pretty decent job of kind of keeping gacha mechanics out of the mainstream of PC and console. I think Genshin Impact is not going to be the only catalyst, but it's going to be the one that sparked it, and we're going to start seeing more and more game developers be more comfortable with kind of towing that line, a little mechanic here, a little mechanic there, and eventually we'll get to a point where this is just as normal as it is on mobile. Now, I don't know what that timeline is. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's probably still going to be a few years. It's going to take a multitude of high quality titles that are free to play that have gacha, and that's going to take a while. Like, we just now got one with Genshin Impact, so it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I think the writing is on the wall for sure. I don't think it's money that they can look away from, and the worst possible thing is having $70 games plus gacha. I think that would be just the worst. So thank you guys so much for 702 responses on our very first poll for Mobile Gaming Recap. Let's see, can we get 1,000 responses on this next one for League of Legends? So here's the question on this episode of the Mobile Gaming Recap in regards to League of Legends Wild Rift and their staggered release. So option number 1, yes, the release should be staggered so that global launch can be the very best it can be. That is exactly what they're doing right now. That's the reality. So they're staggering out the launch, they're soft launching in smaller countries. That way they can kind of gear up and get ready for global launch in spring 2021. So that's option number 1. Option number 2, no. Release should be worldwide all at once to preserve the competitive aspect. This would mean no little small market testing phases whatsoever. Everybody gets the game all at once. We all get the same bugs. We all get the same issues, but at least the competitive aspect, which is a small amount of the player base, mind you, that the competitive aspect is preserved and everyone kind of gets to start off more or less on the same footing. And the last option, yes, the release should be staggered. So very similar to option 1, but I think there should be less time in between. So allowing people to play in October of 2020, but not giving other players the opportunity to play until spring of 2021 is just way too much time. There should be a lot less time. I still agree with soft launching stagger release. I just think there should be less time in between said release. That's going to be option 3. So follow the link down in the description, down in the pinned comment. Let's try to get 1,000 responses on this one, and I will see you guys in the next episode of the Mobile Gaming Recap. I'm out.